Okay, hey guys, this is March Scarf here. Gonna talk about something that isn't forcing the topic at the same time. I'm gonna talk about how I felt a little, not in the worst possible way, not even the cliche way. How I felt claustrophobic about certain things, like how I, switching between certain styles from, again, Angel from the Nofap content community. I should really title these, or even description these videos, or thumbnail them, about the Nofap stream retention, but yeah, or PMO for that matter, like the porn addiction stuff, but I'm referencing again Angel's all-in hunter and no base farmer strategy. I keep making videos about that, but they're really interesting topics I've been going about in my own lifestyle. They're really interesting strategies and wisdoms. Simple as they are, sometimes they're not even simple at all. So that's weird how I said that, but even how complicated about that or fine. Or even describe in different ways, because I'm a very interesting and insightful person, and magnificent and unique. Original. But basically, I'm going to talk about the baby steps farmer, all-in hunter, and what I've been doing about them lately, and why I felt claustrophobic even when in spite of those strategies. How I felt claustrophobic because I know that I don't even feel like I have options. I always have options. I experiment all the time. Sometimes out of desperation, unfortunately, but I also make sure that I have a understanding of even if whether I was actually, because I always had options. I still have options. I just feel like I don't have options sometimes. Because sometimes things feel narrow and sometimes things feel a little out of sync. So it's weird. I always have a really good intuition though. Thank gosh, and sensibility. But yeah. We're going to talk about baseless farmer, all-in hunter, and why I feel like my options are narrow even though there's actually an abundance of options, and how I've been feeling about my health, mental and physical, spiritual, emotional. How I've been feeling about my own life, things I'm doing with Dr. ABC and March Scarf particularly, with the claimations and vlogging me even then, I guess. But and finally, we're going to talk about, after these 2 minutes, I explain what I'm going to do, how I'm dealing with Nofap and semen retention. Okay, so here's the thing. All-in hunter is not hardcore. Baseless farmer is not pathetic. Okay, you can do either one of these things, and they even the cliche of one size fits all. No, one size fits all. Like there's truth to that. There really is. It's just what I've been doing was that I recognized I was very good at baseless farmer, and I really could still learn from doing that. Even still, which I understood more and more. I didn't deny that. I just realized it better, and I knew that all-in hunter would still be better for me, maybe even preferably. If even that's the right word for it, if I chose to do all-in hunter and I didn't deny or digress, I never digressed from a baseless farmer or progressive whatever. All-in hunter, and made sure that I did all-in hunter because I knew that was part of my personality to be strong and to be witty and to be magnificent, and all those other good things. And while still taking breaks if I could, and I know I still have all that opportunity for that. But you know, personally, I found that in my own life, if I had to give straight up examples. Like, for example, and this is going to be an example. This is not going to be me saying example and not being specific again. Being vague, abstract, and colorful, and all these other cool things. I'll try to make an example this time, okay? My health, my diet, okay? Not diet necessarily, but eating healthy food, okay? Versus junk food, or whatever they call that. Whatever controversial advice you've been hearing about between, there's no such thing as bad food, or always try your best to be mindful about what you're eating, even if it's not healthy, or eating healthy food no matter what, whatever. No one's perfect, etc., etc. Something like that. I got Hamza on Ahmed's case about this before because he goes back and forth between all his advice, not just the nutritional ones, but I would talk about that in another video if I can. I'm not hiding from saying that. I'm just saying that he gives like this one advice about exercise where you need to sleep enough to recover from exercise, and on the other end of things he says don't. I think he says don't exercise too much, and it's like, then why should I recover? And it's like, and then this one time I definitely remember is that when he says. There's nothing to say is bad junk food or whatever, and then he says, now obviously you shouldn't be eating too much junk food. It's like, come on, man. Just get it together, Hamza. You gave us advice about why we shouldn't have to avoid it. Not that we had to eat junk food, but why we shouldn't have to avoid it. And then now you're saying it was obvious that we shouldn't have been avoiding it. It's like, come on, even in a mindfulness video, Jesus. As I'm saying about mindfulness or whatever. But yeah, all-in hunter, I'm going to consider again. Because I know it helped me a lot to get in my masculine frame with feminine side, whatever those are considered to be. I made a video about that in Dr. ABC, by the way. Or where I was forming those crossing at the time. I'll eventually stop saying I'll link the channel and actually just link it. I linked it in the last live stream, so thank God. But the channel, Dr. ABC. Anthony Bar Cashman, by the way. Doctor. But if for those of you who don't know, baby steps farmer is basically where you take your time and you take more breaks and you're more easy on yourself and you make slow progress so you can pace yourself on what you're doing and focus on them better. And then all in hunter is where you actually go balls to the wall with everything and do more things and don't hold back and make sure that you really care about what you're doing and take responsibility for your life. It's all that stuff. It's all the good stuff. It doesn't have to be multitasking. It doesn't have to be powerhousing everything. But you just do more. You work with more of what you have, and you realize you have more than that even then. So the reason I wanted to do all in hunter was because I was taking too many breaks. But even then, I tried to give it a chance. I'm glad I did. I gave Baby Steps Farmer a chance. But yeah. Thing with okay, so I can explain this if I forget. So with Nofap and Semen Retention, I'm doing better. I'm about to be on day 2 of Nofap again, hard mode or Semen Retention, in the coming next couple hours. I'm doing fine with that. But this current streak, when I started it, it felt really good immediately. Sometimes after relapse, it doesn't feel bad. It actually feels good for some reason because I feel confident and I have self-forgiveness all the time. I never had bad self-esteem. I lack confidence in certain areas of my life, but I've always had good confidence otherwise. And just even my mother agrees I lack confidence sometimes. But yeah. I've never been shy. I do not know why people think I'm an introvert, or even when I negotiate ambiversion, people are making fun of ambiversion. It gets on my nerves. So, and I'm a patient person, family. But why I keep tonguing all that stuff on purpose? Do I fake my emotions still? Maybe so. I can explain that in the video. But I'm doing well enough. I'm zero intention, so I don't compromise on like the idea that maybe I don't want to be celibate or virgin or whatever, or cue on this idea of manifestation vibration, the most high or whatever they call it. Sorry, Aqui Thompson. Sorry, I don't know if you know what this channel is, but yeah, just if I title this "Don't Have a Semen Touch," you'll find it anyways. And so will Mike V. Mike V is awesome. Sub to Mike V. He's the OG. He's like actually like a good commentator. He made a video here and there about Nofap, but he's particularly good commentator. So people like Mike V, Douglas Terabyte from the algorithm community, from the politics community. I don't know how I'm saying that right away. Jason Nova from Smoking Sessions group, the porn-centric podcast, all that. I mentioned all these people. I need to make a video about side grade creators or whatever. Side grade sidekicks. Not even sidekicks, but like side grade people. Anyways, I'm doing good with No Offense, Zero Intention. I'm doing really good with them. I don't digress and revert. But I don't digress and revert. I'm doing good with them. I know that the streak doesn't have to marriage as a lifestyle, so I'm slowly making my life better and awesome over time. Positive energy, positivity and gratitude. I say them as if I'm desperate, and sometimes I actually still am desperate for those things. But I did get to a point with the gratitude where I didn't have to always write gratitude every single day. The gratitude became a part of my psychology. Now I think the cliche is as indeed with everyone has a certain level of negativity. I even explained in the last stream how this becomes apparent, where even too much positivity can be a bad thing, and not just too much negativity. But the thing is that you don't have to be ashamed of. I'm never ashamed of with anything myself particularly. I never have guilt or shame personally. That's just me. People assume that about me for some reason. Like, it's the opposite of what I think. But different perspectives. But that's hard. It's hard to acknowledge different perspectives when you have the most extreme perspective of what you think it is. So if you're like me, you've always been abstract and vague and all that, and beautiful and colorful, then you're gonna have a hard time explaining that to other people and like being like, but I am acknowledging other perspectives. I'm just not quite as centralized, or decentralized. Ooh, sorry. Big blockchain, big whatever. I don't use all websites anymore. I could use them in the future. I'll make a video on either one of these channels about Minds, Gab, VidMe. I'll make a video about the alternative platforms in a future video, I guess, at some point, with one of these channels. But maybe even no tech channel, the memes channel, if that was memes. But I'm doing good with Nofap and Semen Retention. I've been making my life better over time. Gratitude became easier. Positivity became easier. Those are the two things that I take for granted. It's actually no. It's my health. It's my gratitude. So positive energy, whatever. It is my manifestation, my charm, luck to my own understanding of it being good and not necessarily fake or flaky. So it's been my health, my gratitude, and my manifestation. I've been doing really well with these certain things, if even a spiritual side, that kind of thing. But I've been grateful for a lot of things already. I've had a lot to gain from even as young or old as 24 years old. What's detained, you know? Whether you see that as an old grown-ass man or as a young-ass kid, I still see myself as a character or a kid. That's just pretty personal. But I said that in the last video, I think. But about Penny Parker and all that. But Spider-Man too much of the. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I can explain after I'm done with all thing. But like, so I explained Nofap, Semen Retention. I explained all in hunter, baby steps farmer. My health is weird, so I feel claustrophobic because I didn't know how to find the good food or even the healthy food, because I was already scouring the house for like whatever else was actually food. And I'm not hiding. I hope I'm not escaping from the food that is healthy for me, but I just I make sure that I don't burn myself out for most of these things. I never had burnout for most things anyways. Not even YouTube content creation or my lifestyle regard alone, but I don't. I think it's more like that. I once I stopped eating the junk food for sure, then it became harder to avoid certain things, and it was like, yeah, I don't. There's a timer I set for 2 hours. It was way harder to like not to avoid junk food, but to realize what the healthy food was. And that, my mother will get on my case about me not knowing what real food is, and not just from junk food, but from actual like real healthy nutritious food that is actually for your daily course meals, or for even outside of snacks, or even if they were supposed to be snacks, if they were so healthy for you, or even realistically good for you, realistically there for you to eat. And that's complicated for me to understand for some reason. I'm a complicated person, so maybe I'm overcomplicating it myself, maybe. But that's my idea with health. I'm being healthy anyways. I have a long story with exercise and diet and sleep, but you know, it's a triad of that thing. But yeah, I've had good sprinting. You want to see my legs, by the way? Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Oh my gosh! Like, that's just a glimpse. But if you've seen me all 24/7, you'll know that better than I do. But maybe read me better than I do. People who said that I'm healthier than I realize, or no, maybe not even that, but that I'm more fasting than I realize. That would be true at the moment. But these legs were cultivated with or without exercise, or being part of a sports team, or being part of a marathon or sprinting session or two or more, or being part of those national D division athlete 1, 2, 3, or even being part of the Olympics. Now, I have these legs and this brain and the rest of my body and spirit or whatever. I take it all for granted. I have a tragedy, but I take a lot of my other blessings for granted. I have a big depressing tragedy, but I take a lot of these other blessings for granted. In a nutshell, I'm a talented claymation animator. And this sounds a little off topic from the other things I want to talk about in this video, but like a little bit. But so I have been in good health. I have been in good mental and physical health. I took Corona very well. COVID-19 or coronavirus pandemic, whatever you call it. I think pandemic is less bad than epidemic, because I think epidemic is worse than pandemic. I think when people say pandemic, I don't think of the end of the world. I think more like a subcategory of that. Subcategory of really bad. You know, I was really neurotic and confused, and people kept saying things like quarantine or shelter in place and all that. And they're like, I kept saying that certain places were in lockdown, and my family was like, well, that's everywhere. No, it's not everywhere. It's certain places. They have different laws for certain countries, okay? They don't just say it's everywhere if it's everywhere, okay? They say this is called a lockdown, this is in certain places, this is in quarantine. They're all different terms, and people keep saying they're the same thing. No, they're not. They're not. Well, there goes my monetization. Okay, but if I even have it on my scarf. But yeah, that's my health and mental health, physical. I always had a neurotic way of seeing things. I've always been envious about certain people and disgusted of how people misunderstood and confused me. How I was confused, how I was misunderstood, how I managed to make that work, even though I still hated the idea of subjective and objective or whatever else people kept saying. And then things that make me fascinating, when I step 1 foot into the ocean, people think I'm 10 meters into the sea. 10,000 meters, whatever. 10,000 leagues. The book is good, by the way. I skimmed through it, but it was good. When I take 1 step into the pool, people think I'm already deep in the ocean. It's like I'm that fascinating as a person. It's like I can be a clown in some ways, but I can also be a very magnificent writer in others. And this is a 50-50 that again, this is not so much relevant to this video, but I'm a 50-50 between being illiterate and insightful. And it's like I'm either a very magnificent writer, or I'm a trash talking heap yard of I don't make sense land. You know, it's very weird. It's like I either hardly make sense at all, if anything, or I make too much sense to the people, and I'm like, oh no, that's too deep. I can't believe this person exists, cliche. In a good way, in a good light. But yeah, this is supposed to be relevant to the video at some point. But like, the last point I'll make is that I think I just I'm taking good care of things. I don't know how to turn them in a better favor. I should just push forward and just grit certain things and have. There's a lot of discussed philosophy for a lot of this, but I'll grit them anyways. I'll grit towards the right directions, persevere. Even though I'm still disgusted about what I'm doing or not doing, or what other people are doing or not doing, or how life works or isn't working, I still get a lot of that going on. But you know, I don't digress, by the way. Tongue and that shit. Okay, I need to work on my tongue posture so I can read myself. I want to have a better tongue, anyways. I want to have a better tongue. I don't have to just be good like doing with other sexual stuff, but actually like having a good tongue to lick stuff. Jesus, that's all I want. Generally speaking, not just sexually, but like yeah, that's not good. That's not deep enough. Well, double meaning, triple meaning. Yeah, I'm having a good life. I don't want to dismiss my hat. It's a hard way to explain. It's a long story. It's not like saying, oh, I'm cherry picking from the bad stuff, from the good or bad. It's like, I don't believe ups and downs. It's not even the worst possible way. I don't even believe in like in the bad way. I don't believe like ups and downs doesn't exist. I don't have to debunk that compared to SJW, also Justice Warrior, or the strawman argument, which I can still debunk pretty well, because people over assume. They jump to the conclusion. This has happened more than once before. People make the conclusion and poor assumption that a strawman argument is happening, and they think that they're in the wise. They're not even close to that. They're just making an assumption that's not there. Not that they're stupid, but like, you know, I can debunk social justice warrior because there's a bit of information about social justice warrior I can look up from a writers forum on Reddit. It was like they talk about why social justice warrior doesn't exist, and then they talk about why there's a way to. I know consciously how to debunk strawman argument, and I know how to debunk attention whore. Some of those other things I get opposite opinion devil's advocate ideas. Yeah. But we can talk for another 3 minutes. I want to run to the 20 minutes again, so, or 23 minutes. I can run 23 or 25 if I can keep talking. So I'm gonna drink a little bit of water before I do so. I'm not running out of breath, but I am running out of my head's about to not catch up for some reason. Jesus. I'm sure you guys will watch a 23-minute video, right? 24? Or run before 20 if you want to, but I don't know. You know, again, in case you guys haven't seen this before, I did it in the stream, but if the stream didn't upload, let me just explain this again. As an extra primer. This is a chart describing, and I'll flip this off on the board in a second if I want to. This is a chart explaining the dynamics between how being too positive or too negative, as in optimism, pessimism, so your attitudes, emotional context, whatever. This is how it works, in my opinion. Like this is the scheme I made in a soft skills light philosophy, whatever, soft skills philosophy, life dynamics, social dynamics. This is how I thought it would work. It's like if you don't have too much positivity, you're still in a better light than people who have too much of it, and too negativity can still be bad. The people who say that, I believe this already, but the people who say that there's a way to be so positive that you're better off than someone who's too negative, I already believe that. I do believe that being overconfident is better than not being confident at all. Even if overconfidence is still pretty bad. But like, I can explain this one bit by bit. So the void is the only item under and that's the first field. The void is basically when you're so negative you don't even feel anything anymore. That's a very when you lose ownership of yourself and trusting yourself and connection with yourself. That's a really, really dark place to be in. You don't even know if it's being bad anymore. That's kind of similar in a weird, awkward vein with PMO and porn addiction. You don't even know why it's bad until you avoid it. So, avoid, not void. PMO, porn addiction. But then we got the second range, and this is the range of misery, or at least mediocrity. LOL. And then we got hopelessness, which I put behind depression, but ahead of void, because hopelessness is like when you deliberately give up. There's a difference, because when you're hopeless, you do give up. When you're depressed, you feel really bad, but it's technically not your fault, although it should be your responsibility at some point, something like that. Even if it's not your fault, it's your responsibility. That's it. I can make a whole video about that. But when you're depressed, you're not giving up, unlike hopelessness. But with depression, you're not giving up because you're just in a really bad spot. You're not a bad person. Like that cliche, I guess. And then with anxiety, there's good and bad anxiety, as Jordan Green talks about. I can link him in the video. I bet I'll forget to do it anyways. Not on purpose, at least. I don't know. I have the bad mood for it. Yeah. But anxiety, if it's the bad anxiety, it's basically between constant and depression. The anxiety being that you have been overwhelmed by something that isn't actually bad in your life. It's a figmented reaction to it. Not fragmented, but figmented, I guess. Oh, those aren't too similar. I never noticed that before. As easily, but maybe not. Content should be in the middle, but if you're just content, this idea of mediocrity. That's why it's in here, in this field range of misery and mediocrity. Because if you're content, you're still not. Stasis is considered worse than being depressed. Because when you're in stasis, you don't move. You're just there. I used to think that stasis was a good thing because at least you wouldn't have anything bad happening or good, and you could just be present, mindful, and stillness, all that, the meditation monk stuff. But if you're content, maybe you're grateful, maybe you're having a bit of anxiety because you're happy. But if you're content, nothing is changing, nothing is moving, and that means you're not getting better. And that means you're just lagging behind. There's no such thing as stasis in Jordan Peterson's words, because if you're in stasis, you're not moving. And that means you're going behind. You're either moving ahead or behind. And if you're in stasis, that means you're actually behind or ahead. For Rocco Reed needs you to be ahead. That means you're actually behind in between. But third range of God is ideal approach, gratitude, optimism, and attractive energy. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll explain anyway, because I'm not that kind of person who says that not gives a shit and doesn't try. Okay, even though I have discussed philosophies about that in particular. So. Gratitude is the head of content, but behind optimism, because it does happen to be a very good thing to be grateful. It's underrated. It's underrated and overlooked to be grateful. I know plenty of people are trying to do gratitude nowadays, but in our present time and age, and I don't even like to say the phrase day and age, but because I think information age is a lie too. I want to debunk even information age. I can debunk SJW information age, strawman argument, and tension hoe, whatever that's called. Opposite opinions, devil's advocate stuff. If you're grateful every day, you don't have to even be doing it consciously, but if you're grateful every day, that's a good heart spirit to be in. Optimism is between attractive energy and gratitude. We got optimism. It's not, I don't have to say every single time, but you got optimism because if you're optimistic, you're already happy for looking forward to the future and in the present. Gratitude will be in the present, optimism will be towards the future. Attractive energy would be maybe embracing of the past, I guess, maybe. Not if attractive energy doesn't embrace the past, it at least gives you a chance to not be stuck with what you have, because it comes outside of you. If that's been seen as materialistic or shallow, I'm sorry, but it's not so much. This is my one chance to debunk the idea of looking from within, because if that phrase doesn't bother me too much, I don't want what does anymore. But attractive energy, when you expel that from outside yourself, that is coming from within, unfortunately. Sorry, Tony. I accept you though. Dr. BC. But when the attractive energy is coming from the outside, that's considered a manifestation. The idea I had with inescapability on the main channel was that it would make me better than someone who's attracting others to him. You'd be getting to them from yourself. You'd be getting to the person or fields that you care about. You would be drawn to them because you'd be driving yourself to them with inescapability. But attraction and magnetism, manifestation, is the idea that they come towards you instead of you having to chase them. I don't always believe in that, by the way, but with attractive energy, that can be embracement of both escapability and manifestation. So that's the idea with attractive energy. It's like so positive that you're not, that it's just expelling out of you. But at that point, you might want to plateau, because if you get to this fourth phase or range, too much confidence, you then have Pollyannousness and hubris. They're both ahead of all the other items in the list. So Pollyannousness is behind hubris, because hubris is when you're too selfish, you don't even care anymore. And Pollyannousness is when you think you're positive for a reason that actually matters, but even then it's still negating the realities and negativity that you're supposed to have. There are some negativities and realities you're supposed to have, even if they're not fair, even if they're still shallow and they can something insightful. You should always look at the bright side of every situation, but there's a paradox in that if you're Pollyannis, you're so positive you're denying the reality and negativities that should be there in the first place. It's okay to be negative a little bit just to make sure you're balancing yourself out with the energies that should be in place, yin and yang, whatever you call it. And then when you're hubris, head of Pollyannis, you're technically a narcissist at that point. You're so confident versus the void on the other end of things. But between void and hubris, void when you don't even know what's going on, hubris is almost the polarity of that in the same exact light. Hubris, you don't know, you know exactly what's going on, but you wouldn't change anyways. Void is you could still change, but you don't know how to, and you don't even know why. It's weird. It's a very sad thing to be in. I hope people who are in the void never give up, and that people in hubris know how to dwindle down somehow, if even that's fair for them. But even for people in hubris or narcissism, I don't think I made a whole video about on Dr. ABC or all across one about how hubris works and how there are pros and cons in both gratitude and narcissism and all that stuff. But yeah, and I just made an extra bit on this whole video about how explaining this and outside the live stream. But yeah, there you go. Yeah. Dr. ABC, everyone. See you around the next video. Or the videos, I think.